Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Currently playing the video games that run on the world's most powerful graphics chip, your imagination. It's August of 1982. We got some games to play. We last played Crisis Mountain, which was kind of like a preview of a lot of the platformers we're about to see on other home computers. Let's see what's next. We're still hanging out on the Apple II. This is the release of Cytron Masters. Cytron Masters is one we've seen in magazines a few times. Now we actually get to play it. Here's the box for Cytron Masters, another one of SSI's Rapid Fire series. And yes, this one is truly rapid fire. On the back, it has the definition for Cytron, any one of many different types of cybernetic electrical devices, mindless machines formed into armies. See Cytron Masters. Or Cytron Masters, Military Commanders of Cytron Armies, a fantastic rapid-fire game from SSI that combines the fast-paced action of pure excitement of arcade games with the challenge and sophistication of strategy simulations. This one is, oh man, a really, really big game if you think of real-time strategy, because this is one of the first, if not the first, real-time strategy game. Now, let's talk real-time strategy, because we're all about what is the first thing since we play every single video game. Since the beginning of all video games, some people would say that one of the first ones was War of Nerves that we saw back in December of 1979 for the Odyssey 2. Here we do not. That just has a few elements of real-time strategy, but not a true real-time strategy experience. And then we also have Galactic Attack, that was in August 1980, and then Utopia, that was on the Mattel Intellivision, kind of like a pseudo 4X style game. And then we also have Bez MX, was another slightly, or had elements of real-time strategy, and then of course Legionnaire and Centurion, and all those have some things, but this one is the true real-time strategy grandfather of everything. Done extremely well. Here's the idea you would have seen in magazines at the time for Cytron Masters. And the 5 1/4 floppy disk, oh, the SSI sleeve. I gotta show Chris Alimo that one. And then, of course, the Rapid Fire series. The name says it all, speed, power, excitement. Rapid Fire is all about doing strategy, but adding a little action, a little arcade to it. There we go, you can see Cytron Masters there, Galactic Gladiators, which we've already seen, the Cosmic Balance, which really wasn't, or Guadalcanal Campaign, no, those aren't Rapid Fire. Cosmic Balance is not Rapid Fire, and Guadalcanal is not. But Shoot 'em Up in Space, yeah, I could see that one. And there's an example of the screenshot. Oh, Errol had this one, sweet. Did you have a friend to play with? Because that is what's cool about this. All right, let's see what the manual has for us. Unless we have any other... No, we already got the artwork there. Here's the manual for Cytron Masters. Yes. We've already seen this front cover or the manual cover for several things. Preparations for Battle by Bill Bunton. Bill Bunton? I thought this was Dan that did this one. So this one has a bunch of the lore and story about what the Cytrons are. This is a sci-fi based game, and so you can take your time to read through the lore about what the Cytrons are all about. We're actually going to get a slight introduction when we begin the game, because it's a battle of sending out different enemies, or sending out different robots or Cytrons to do your will for you. And that's where we get the real-time strategy element. You can be doing this while the other player is sending their enemies out at the same time, and you battle it out. It is definitely different than the game like Robot War we saw by Silas Warner, where you are programming a robot and then it goes out in the battle. This one, you are telling the units what to do in real time, hence the real-time strategy. Oh, yes. Yeah, probably didn't play. If you didn't play too much, you could dive deep into this. This goes really, really far. Look at how much lore we have in the manual. Good night. There's a lot you could pack into there. So the battle rules of the Intergalactic Commission. There's 2 ways to become familiar with the rules and sacred traditions governing symbolic warfare. For those players truly wishing to attain the zenith of Cytron Master, a computer interactive apprenticeship has been provided on your game diskette. This complete initiation was graciously prepared by Grandmaster Titus III, also known as Titus the Terrible. All this in the game. It's insane. So Cytrons have 4 different standard types. Or cybernetic electronic devices is where they get Cytrons from. This is miners, bunkers, shooters, and commanders. Each type has unique abilities, and they show qualities like if they're a ground unit occupying certain space, and you need to know the units because you'll be sending them out into battle. You see the mines are like a mobile bomb. The bunker is for mobile defensive fortifications. The shooter have long-range offensive capabilities, and they're your offensive line, basically. And then commanders are used as human managers to relay battle orders to all friendly Cytrons within 3 spaces. So they're like a mini hub. And then you also have the missiles you can use to just send out and control. They're like remotely controlled missiles that you put out in battle. Yes, another game with Tron. We just saw Orbitron in the arcade. I'm seeing a trend here. If it's got Tron, it's probably going to sell, right? This one did not, at least what I've been told. So anti-missile is the other one you can send out to counter the other player's missile. All Cytron matches take place in an area that is 380 hectares long by 80 hectares. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, wide. The total battlefield area is 68,400 square hectares. Each is an area much too large to easily observe. A video display console using symbols to represent all features of battle is provided. Nice that they give us that consolation. There's 3 types of installations on the battlefield. These are command centers, power centers, and transport beam points. And it breaks down all of these places. The most important installation is the command center. Everyone's going to have one command center. This is where you're generating your units, if you're familiar with other real-time strategy games. Now, right now, in 1982, you wouldn't be familiar with this because there's nothing that has ever done this before. This is one of those ahead of its time, truly amazing and original games. Transport beams, and then, of course, the battle itself. Now, this one is going to be on the Apple II, so we're going to be programming and moving everything with paddle controls, where you have a menu base to select, which units you want. So the control's a little loose because imagine playing a paddle game where you're having to direct menu structures. It's a little cumbersome. It reminds me of going from the Atari home computer playing Alibaba and the 40 Thieves to the Apple II version of Alibaba, and it's not the same. It doesn't feel right playing with paddles. It was a lot better playing on the Atari VCS joystick. So this shows you how to, all the commands you will see. Make is how you make different units, and then where you want to put them, the location. And if you want to direct a unit, you have to say direct and then select where they are. And then if you want to send orders to that unit, you select the unit and tell what orders you want. Yes, I'm so glad they did that. And then we also have location. It allows you to choose a new position to transport the beam point, and it can be located at any XY coordinate. And then you also have different things like power and game clock, defensive bonuses, ending the battle, and then the strategy of how to play. And this one is where they break down, like attacks and defense, and the units you're going to be sending out to battle. Also power, because you can't just continue to send out making a ton of units. You have to. They each have a certain amount of energy that they take away from you, and so eventually you'll run out until you can get more. All right, so there you go. Game design and program were Dan Bunton. Later, they'll be known as Danielle Bunton. Regardless, incredible programmer. We've already seen stuff like Computer Quarterback, Computer Baseball, Cartels, and Cutthroats, and this is the one that really started making Dan Bunton really popular as far as a developer. And then later, we haven't seen it yet, Dan Bunton will be the one that will make Mule. Everyone, if you haven't heard of Mule, it's one of the biggest ones, but we haven't seen it yet. All right, let's pop in and play Cytron Masters by SSI, August 4th, 1982. Oh, yeah. All right, so here we go. The first screen, they have the little thing on the screen. It looks like it's the kicks thing that bounces around in the arcade. Nice touch. This game wouldn't work on an enhanced Apple II, by the way. We had to go back to the original Apple II, otherwise this game would not load. So what we want to do first, let's receive instructions, because the Apple II has, welcome. I am Grandmaster Titus III. I will guide your apprenticeship as you seek to learn symbolic warcraft. Wait, warcraft? Behold the dynamic essence of my mind. Attend to my thoughts and be instructed. Press either paddle button to start. Done. The first step of your path toward the status of Master of Cytrons is to become familiar with your communication device, the hand paddle you now hold in your hand. Turn the knob of your paddle clockwise to the highest setting. The device functions like the volume control... Uh-oh. I knew this might happen. We have this weird thing where part of the game has this complete glitch out. Oh, nice. Don't worry. We'll just quit and try again and see what happens. Let's do another boot up. I guess Mr. Titus III just destroyed the game. So it also gives the option of testing paddle controls, practicing to firing missiles, because you have to control the missile remotely. But we're going to go with a one-player game, which means we'll be playing against the computer. Wish me luck. I'm going to go for number 5. There we go. We get the prologue. It's the moments before the start of today's Cytron match. Eager spectators are flowing into the arena. Some only come to celebrate destruction, while others know all too well the socioeconomic implications of each outcome. But whatever reason, they come to cheer their champion and anxiously await the spectacle to come. For you, the Cytron manager, your only thoughts are of battle preparations. Let's do it. We have the right paddle. Your paddle has to be communicating, and they bring up all this stuff about the communication because the paddle control really was a detriment to this game. It was pretty difficult. So they just want to make sure you can use the paddle correctly and say, do you understand? Yes. Yes, we do. And then turn the paddle to its highest setting. There it is, 255. Good. Thanks, Hunter. I appreciate it. Now the arena can be ready for battle. The Intergalactic Commission recently ruled in Warcraft Pronouncement 121. Warcraft keeps being brought up. Is that one of the reasons why they called the game that? Each manager in turn chooses the location of the battlefield, installation, and the deployment of initial Cytron troops. A standard novice setup of the battlefield has been provided. If it's not used, then manager can either recall a previously stored setup or create an entirely new one. The computer will set up its own side of the battlefield. Oh yeah, there's the battlefield. Let's do this. Okay, so when you want to use this setup, we'll say yes. And you see it when we have one side, the computer has another side. The battle now has begun. The very first true real-time strategy. There's kicks again just showing up. At any time you can push pause, I think, right? Press a key anytime to pause. Let's see. Yeah, I can. Nice. So the pause feature is any keyboard or any key you want on the keyboard. Just mash the keyboard. And we can switch the sound out. Any key to resume. Nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm on the right side. You can see the computer is already making moves while I'm doing it. I got to quickly use my paddle control. I'm going to go to make. I want to make a mine and place the mine here. And I want to make a... Let's get a shooter out there. So at the same time that I'm making and generating units, the computer is also doing that on the left side while I'm on the right side. Let's get another shooter and put him down here. So I have only a few options of where I can place them, but then I can direct them and order them later. All right, so let's do a commander and put a commander up here. And you can see they're slowly moving forward after I've decided to make them. And then right above us is a small power bar or energy bar. How many units you have left. It slowly increases over time, and every time you make something, like if I want to shoot off my missile, this will be a little interesting. I want to fire it off. Ready, watch. They're probably going to do an anti-missile, but it's very difficult to control with the paddle control. Missile alert! It takes a lot of energy to do it. Here we go, going across. Let me see if I can hit him on this side. Nope, nope, turn. Nope, there's the anti-missile. God, the control is so, it's so tricky to do with the paddle. I really love to have it on the Atari. Maybe we'll see that. All right, so we didn't get the missile out there. We have really low energy. Let's go ahead and put another shooter and put it in place C. There we go. And the shooter is the offensive side, so as the enemies get closer, moving themselves across the battlefield, then the shooter will attack them. And let's go ahead and make another mine to oh, no, I want a shooter. I guess we'll do that one for now. Let's make a mine. So that's where the paddle control feels weird, because you can easily roll over the wrong thing as you're making your selection. Yes. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate it. Playing every game, though, you can see, well, you're going to see games that aren't everyone's cup of tea. Not everyone likes strategy games. Not everyone likes adventure games. But here we're playing everything. This one is so ambitious. This is a really fun game to play with two people, because you're not going to spend as many hours reading the manual to know what to do. And with the Apple II version, while the paddle control does have feels weird to get used to, it's just a cool idea. It's very refreshing to have a video game that is real time, putting units out and making a strategy game where you can play without having to wait. I'm playing against the computer, and we are not waiting to load. On a stock Apple II, we are not hitting fast forward to play. That's what makes this really, really amazing. All right, we've gained a little bit of energy, not too much. I'm going to go ahead and put a bunker down right here. And now we can direct some units. Now you can see when I go to direct, I have to use that paddle control. Look at this, the wheeling around. Let's go ahead and wheel my commander. And I want him to advance. And then he's going to move forward, and I can send orders out. Let's go ahead and send some orders to the commander. Let's have him advance. And you can tell him to go which direction you want. You can see what's happening is the battlefield's set up with some barriers, and my barrier, the computer's coming across and firing shots. The computer obviously has played this game before and is much more proficient than I am, so they're already at the wall where my units are, so I need to get some more out here. For protection, let's go ahead and do another mine. I want to put him down here. There we go. Now, if you think of it in today's standards, this game doesn't look as impressive because, you know, lack of color and the units are so small. But if considering all the games we've played, it's what the parts of this game is what really makes it amazing. It is kind of a slap in the face for all the war gamers on board games. This one's doing it right in front of you, and you don't have to wait. We can't go get tea. We can't make a sandwich while the game is waiting for another turn. We're just going to go. I'm going to fire another missile out here. See if I can get to the command center. Just go! Come on, nope. Nope. Oh, he got me before I got there. So the anti-missile obviously is there to defend and smash into it. But if I can make it, then I would have won the game. All right, so that is Cytron Masters, a quick taste of what you could experience. The best way to do it is with 2 people, but even then, when we've done 2-player games that are strategy games here on the channel, we have never played against the computer, and the gameplay was this fast. There was no waiting or loading. We played strategy games where you put in your commands, then the other player puts in their commands, and then you wait. 5-10 minutes, sometimes longer, and this is just, it's going. It's time to play the game, and we're ready to rock. So modern gamers wouldn't be as interested or be raving about this game, but Cytron Masters is pretty good. Of all the reviews I've seen around the time, they were all raving of how good this was. So Cytron Masters is pretty good. It's not really one of the best computer games you could play, and I'm going to blame it on that paddle control, but I'm still going to say 4 stars of all the games you could play up to this point. Oh yeah, if you play with friends, yeah, and has a lot of depth because you saw the lore in there, but then for the battle, it's a sci-fi battle simulation. It's really nice. All right, and after the Cytron Masters on the Apple II, recently after that, we got Cytron Masters on Atari. So it is the revamped version of Cytron Masters. You can see from the box, all it is, it's like, oh, it says in the top left, Apple or Atari. Same excellent artwork, same back of the box that we saw before, and then ads you would have seen in the magazines. Like, I think we played every game on this ad from Rapid Fire by SSI. So cool. Now, this is a screenshot of if you are on a newer display and you don't have the original artifacting turned on. There you go. That's what it looks like if it's turned on. It has a little bit of color to it, but it's essentially a black and white designed game. And if you did get it on Atari, you got a special note to Atari owners. You're in for a real treat. Cytron Masters for the Atari is a new and improved version of an already great game. As you may know, Cytron Masters was originally written for the Apple II. When we decided to convert the game to Atari, we were faced with a dilemma. Do we just duplicate it, or do we redesign it to make it more sophisticated graphics and sound and all that stuff? So the result is your version is a new game that incorporates all exciting features that make the Atari a truly remarkable computer. So they are trying to one-up the Apple II. Very good. In fact, because of this, Dan Bunton eventually just programs Mule first for the Apple II because the enjoyment of programming on this rather than on the staying on the Apple II. So rules are all pretty much the same. You have to understand symbolic Warcraft. It's available on both disc and cassette, but this one allows you to use the Atari VCS joystick. We have even different game modes, select options that we usually do on the Atari computers. And the biggest difference concerns the interaction. Yes, there is no game paddle controllers. You use Atari joysticks. Actually feel much easier to play. Yeah, they do. It's almost like this is going in reverse as Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. So nice little touch here that they tell you the differences in this excerpt. And there you go. Look, have fun by Dan Bunton. Cool. And for other ones, yeah, we have one that's possible with a prologue. I want to play one quickly, again, a preview of it. Here we go, Cytron Masters on the Atari home computer. It is August 5th, 1982. This also had accounts of being released a little bit later, around October, November of 1982. I'm putting them together just so we can have a quick comparison of the games side by side. And most of the ads that I saw in magazines all had Apple and Atari together, and I couldn't find a separate one. So there you go. Look at this. We have the option to do Novice or Master or Grandmaster, or you can do a custom one. That's cool. And then you can also do players 1 and 2, just like on the Apple II. And then when we're ready to go, start it up. So a one-player game again, So now we are the same map we saw before. We have that very, very tiny articles on the screen. It's really hard to see. And then we push spacebar, and then we're in. So just like before, this uses the opposite controller. I have to plug in the second one to be in the first player position. But over on the left side, the computer's making their move. I got my second controller in. Let's go. Make a mine. Place the mine down. Oh, I don't have to use paddle controls. I wonder if I can get the missile to go in. Let's go ahead and make the missile and shoot it across. Here we go. Let's see. Does it? Oh my gosh, it does. I can actually control it much easier. he shot at the anti-missile at the last second. All right, let's put another mine down. Put it right down there. And then another mine here. And so if you were the very first person to play the game, it would have looked like this or really close to this. But there was lots of different displays. You could have seen this differently, and you could have also seen it on only black and white without that. That's true. They didn't allow that. It was only paddle control for the Apple II. There is a digital joystick, but it didn't work. You only could use paddles. All right, let's get a shooter out here. Put him there to move forward. And let's go ahead and make another mine. I'll have the mine go at the top. So you can see on the left side, they kind of color coordinated it. All right, let's go ahead and make a commander, and we'll put a commander down at the bottom here. So just like the Apple II, this flows so smoothly, very well programmed. We are not having to wait. The game is just going. All right, let's get a bunker. We'll put a bunker down right here and keep making our units. So we're just generating from, I'm on the right side, the computer's on the left side. Computer's already coming in close. Let me get another shooter in. Let's put it one down there. And keep going here. And I'm just generating on the right side more units. You can see them stockpiling up close to my command center. And then I can send some orders out. Oh, nice touch. Yes, the orders are better than the Apple II as well. Whenever I want to direct them or move them, I can... Oh, it's so much easier to move them now. Get out there, guys. All right, let's move the mine. Oh, so cool. Oh, yeah, it works way better with the Atari VCS joystick. All right, let's make another mine and put it down here. So we have an enemy shooter that's coming up, and we're hopefully going to blow him up. Yeah, I got him. And you see what he's doing. He's actually making his way at the top of the screen. So I'm going to have to direct some units to the top. Let's go ahead and turn the mine, get him to go up. And just direct this guy, the shooter, to go up too. And throughout the game, after you've made all your units, then you have to direct them where you want to go. And it's just a massive undertaking. That this is the kind of game we haven't seen anything like this. That it's moving, and you're able to generate and direct all these units at the same time in real time without waiting for the command. You're getting to do it all right now. It's really, really, yeah, very high replayability. It's also very exciting. After having seen everything up to this point and knowing what was there before, how we had little nibbles of this kind of concept, but not fully realized, you know, like Utopia and BezMX. There's been games out there that had kind of this, but not fully fledged. This one is a real-time strategy game. It's so cool and exciting. So it's amazing. It didn't really sell too well, surprisingly. Most SSI games were niche, and they didn't get picked up as much. But this one still blows me away, and this is one I want to keep playing. I really say that for SSI games because I'd like to have a guest on the show, and we play it together and work out the nuance for it of how the game plays. Most likely we'll play it on the Atari version rather than the Apple version. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and stop our game playing right there. But the Apple one, the Apple one, I'm going to keep at 4 stars. For Cytron Masters on the Atari, this one is one of the best computer games you could play. I'm going to go 4.5 stars up to this point. It's fantastic. So much fun. More fun than I thought it would be, actually. All right, after Cytron Masters, let's keep going. It's time to go to the TRS-80 color computer, and here is Across the Rubicon. I don't plan this, folks, but we have another war game, a very much in-depth video game. All we have for this is articles you would have seen in magazines at the time. There you go. Across the Rubicon. Arc Royal Games. The cassette one's $17 here. Yikes. And then here we have again Across the Rubicon, $16K. Popular World War II war game. Break through the Hurtgen Forest using infantry, heavy and light tanks, air and artillery strikes. See, it sounds like a war game, right? Uh, yes, if I could, I would as well. We only do the half-star rating here. And then we have on Ark Royal Rubicon 2, because the first version of this was 16K, and then later they released a 32K version, and they called it Rubicon 2. So we're going to be playing, I think the one we're booting up is technically the 32K version. That's why it says here Rubicon 2. And there's some more war games with, if you see back there, there's a box for Across the Rubicon. I couldn't find an example of that. All we have is this article or advertisement flyer. A World War II simulation game? Who wants to get their war game hat on again? We have the manual also for Across the Rubicon. That's a little kind of what it looks like. You have the swastika hiding in the back. The battle for the Hurtgen Forest during World War II. Player controls American forces and wins by capturing pillboxes, cities, and an airfield in under 20 turns. We've heard this kind of trope before and seen games like this before. This tells you what to do if you have the cassette version. And order of battle, the game begins with you selecting how much infantry you want, recon tanks, heavy tanks, tactical, artillery, and then you have to have at least 15-inch infantry to purchase. The game begins with you buying all the units. Then 4 supply units are free, you don't count toward the above. And then you also have to worry about your costs, how much money you have left. You can have no more than 3 air units can be purchased, and then you also have reserve points. And then you go into the command mode. This one is extremely text-heavy. There is a quote-unquote graphic that you'll see, but that's pretty much it. So we went from the highly advanced Cytron Masters to several steps back in the 70s when we saw these strategy games with this one. This manual is immense. There is so many things you have to know and which commands to type in. You would be completely lost without this manual. I mean, it's breaking down which keys you enter, because this uses like a menu-based system where you have to select different commands to send your units in places. Look at this. Oh, it does show the quote-unquote graphics. The blue strip, which is represented by semicolons and periods, and impedes all retreats. You have pillboxes, cities, and then the characters that are printed on top, and the characters are represented by 1 letter. So you got to use even more imagination for Across the Rubicon. And then we have unit commands. How do you tell your units what to do? Artillery, and we're only halfway through the manual. This is very, very lengthy and very, very technical. But the presentation for this one is what really drives it down. Coming soon, Guadalcanal. Not the Guadalcanal we played, a different one. Let's pop it and play Across the Rubicon by Phil Keller. At the beginning of August 1982. This one is on Basic. Let's bask in the cocoa's green glow and just show you a little bit of this one, because it's a very difficult one to get into. You saw how lengthy the manual was. You would have to spend a long time with that. You do have 4 different skill levels. Let's pick skill 1. Now we buy our units. How many infantry units do we want? We have to have at least 15. I'm going to go 16. We'll buy 16 of those, and it shows you how many points we have left. Points, I guess, is the way we have currency. And then 9th Lieutenant Tank, we can do 2 of those. 6th HV tank units, I'll do 2 of those. How many do we have? We got plenty left. 14th front FTR units, and I have to refer to the manual to get the exact unit it is. And then we got 415. Those are 191st artillery. Let's do 3 of those. Oh, not enough. Oh, those are really expensive, I see. Start over. Oh, I got to do... Sorry. We have to start... Oh my gosh, if we go over the points, the game just ends. Okay, I'll try it again. I'll do 16 infantry. Let's do a little bit cheaper this time. I'll do 3 Lieutenant Tank, 2 of those. 14 units, I'll do 2 of those. There we go. Now I want... Let's do 3 of those. That's it. So we got 100 reserve points. Ground troop strength is 332. Got it. Enter to begin. Yes. Now we're in. Didn't know you could break the game by going over points. That's cheap. Yeah, I've never heard of Ark Royal either. This is the very first game we've seen by him. Oh, yes, and World War II games, man, are so much fun. If you're a big history buff, I love history. So any games that take place in parts of history that I really enjoy, then makes it a lot of fun. All right, so you can see how this is very much the spreadsheet style game. And this tells us our units, location, support, strength, and status. And again, unit string support sees and shows all our units, all of them, and we're now on turn 1. Map 1, if we want to see the map, there's our map. Look at those graphics. This is even worse than the original SSI games, the ones that involved the Napoleonic Wars, where we were looking at a few blips and bloops. It reminds me of games we originally played on the Commodore PET that were strategy games. These kinds of graphics. So do we want to move a unit? Now, every one of the units is represented down here by those symbols. So I'm not really going to play much longer because this one requires you to memorize and have the manual ready for every single command. So Across the Rubicon is a rudimentary battle simulation or strategy game. I gotta say, bad. Of all the games we've seen so far, it's down there. I'm going to go 1.5 stars. I did play this one a little bit longer before the live stream, and it was very difficult to get into. It required memorization. It required, even the games we played that are hybrid board game and computer game, at least I can understand getting into those, but this one I could not see, even now in 1982, someone really wanting to get into Across the Rubicon, unless you consider the price. And you only needed 16K for this. This is the kind of strategy games we're going to see eventually on the ZX Spectrum and the ZX81. Yes, 0.5 for the Puke Green. Well, then every game on the color computer should be 0.5. It's all Puke Green. Yeah, Arrow's going 1.5 for sure. So there you go. That's Across the Rubicon. Let's see what's next. It's now time to go to the Commodore Max machine. It still lives on, even when we have the Commodore 64 that's brand new. This is Gorf. Gorf for the Commodore Max machine. Let's take a look at the box. Hey, they blended it. Commodore 64 and Max machine on the front. Because I think it works with both. You can get the cartridge to go on both sides. So this one, Gorf, we originally saw in the arcades in 1981, and we've already seen Gorf this year on the VIC-20 in April and on the Atari home computer in June. And here is the next release of Gorf on the Max machine. So I'm expecting it to be better than the Commodore VIC-20 and around the same range as the Atari home computer. It has 4 completely different space games: Astro Battles, Laser Attack, Space Warp. It should have every level from Gorf, it sounds like. Hours of space action fun. There's the cartridge we're going to pop in, either the Commodore 64. We're going to do it just on the Max machine right now because it is slightly different. The sound is what's we're going to notice most. Let's pop in Gorf by Dave Nutting Associates, published by Commodore Business Machines. It's August 6th, 1982. Now this one, I got to do a load because it takes a while to load up. But here we are. There he is. Gorf is bouncing around at the top of the screen for us. Yes, and we will see some of those arcade perfect ones. Well, no, I think we're going to see that way later. Yeah, they're the modern games, yeah, so we won't see those. We'll see those in probably 20 years. So we want the left button to start. All right, we're in. Oh, it looks like Gorf to me. First stage begins with a homage to Space Invaders. Oh, I thought I could get Gorf. I'm trying to remember if you could shoot him before. Go. Oh, so cool, you can. So this is our 4th outing playing some Gorf. Really big fan of this. It's almost like we're playing a history of space shooters. That's why I love Gorf. They have the barrier in front. Oh man, I can't believe I missed that guy. There we go. And then we go into the next stage. They're going to be flying at us really fast. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm already seeing the flickering. I wonder if the Max machine is chugging along because of the memory. This one's only running on 2K, and it's repeating the same song. There is the SID chip in this computer. Why is the sound so bad? The music is just terrible. Oh, and I got the freedom to move. That's right. I can move up and down almost like Centipede right now. So I got a little bit of movement. Oh, they got me on that one. Yeah, a little bit more animation on the aliens. At least compared to the VIC-20, definitely. Atari, though, no, I thought the Atari one is about the same from what we saw. The character sprites look larger than, well, a little bit larger than the Atari. Wait a second. They bring all the, good gosh, that's difficult. They brought all the enemies back whenever you want to come back. Whoa, that is tough. The second level, I don't know if I can get past that. We have to do a perfect run and kill all those enemies on the random screen. Alright, maybe because I killed Gorf, he made it so hard. I'll leave Gorf alive this time. When I first saw this in the arcades, I gave it 5 stars because I was so amazed that there's so many types of screens and games, like an homage to Galaxian. Here we got Space Invaders. Then I think we have Lunar Rescue or another one later. Good gosh, look how fast it is. Okay, I gotta remember to use my... Oh, wow. Every time you die, all the enemies come back again, so you have to have a perfect run. And I'm getting flicker, so it makes it harder to play. Okay, we got one side. Let's get smart. Don't go running in guns blazes now. Oh yeah, the flicker. And I have a little bit of the constant repeating loop of music in the background, though, is so bad. All right, just 2 left. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. Yes. All right, next. Let's see what the next screen is. There we go. Yes, we have the circle. Oh, they kind of skimped on the graphics because we don't have the same... And they're repeating the same song in the background. All right, we're moving on to the next one. Get our barrier past here. So far, they're showing all the screens of Gorf for right now. The presentation, though, I would say the Atari was a little bit better. Control-wise, though, it works pretty good. Just a little unfair with the enemies, at least in the last stage. Or second stage. And we're doing okay now. Got one more extra life. It is really intense, though. Alright, pieces are flying off. Got it. The explosion, though, has much to be desired. And there we go. Okay, so we're back at the beginning. So it gives us a grand total of 4 stages of Gorf on the Commodore Max machine. Yeah, something about this game, either the control itself or the way that it's... it doesn't feel as polished as the VIC-20, and the VIC-20 felt like an official release, and the Atari felt... This doesn't feel official. Yeah, the flicker gives it a less than 1, right? Yeah, so I'm gonna say it's still okay for the time. Just doesn't give it to the... I was giving VIC-20 a 4-star, and then the Atari 4.5 of all the games you could play. This one doesn't go as high as those. I'd still say it's a very good shooter for the time. I'll say 3.5 stars, around the average range of all the shooters you could play, because it has multiple screens. It's strange that they decided to have that loop in the background. It feels like there's something missing with it. Yeah, I still say 3.5 though. Of all the games you could play on a home computer, Gorf would still be okay. But I mean, you're on the Commodore Max machine. I think you've already lost if you had the Commodore Max machine. All right, let's see what's next. It's time to go back to the Apple II and play some Dawn Patrol. Another one I've never heard of before. Let's take a look at the box for Dawn Patrol. Authentic 3-dimensional simulation of World War I dogfighting. That's right. And we flip it over the back. This is another one by TSR, the Game Wizards. Originally was board game publishers, and here they are back in the video game world, or they just began the video game world, and we're going to be seeing more from them. Computer aerial combat game. Look at the screenshot. Is that wireframe graphics? You got to be kidding me. No way. I can't believe it. Used on your Apple II, you need 48K for it. Real-time simulation, animated high-res graphics, and 1 player only. I got to see this to believe it. Here's the manual for Dawn Patrol. Oh, we don't have the actual manual. I couldn't find the video game manual. This is the manual for Dawn Patrol, which is the TSR board game, the aerial combat role-playing game, which is slightly based on this, but we're not going to play a role-playing game. We're going to play an actual combat simulation game. And this is not based on Dawn Patrol that is in 1978. This is a completely different game. This is licensed by TSR Hobbies, and you can see here the original was called was a role-playing flight simulation game called Fight in the Skies, and then later was called Dawn Patrol, and then we got the video game after that. Yeah, so this manual is pretty fun. It's the board game manual, not the video game manual. All right, let's pop in and play some Dawn Patrol. This is by Keith Eng of TSR Hobbies. And I believe we're gonna load this up a different way. I want to get this to go fast because, man, this is another one that takes a while to boot up. There we go. TSR Hobbies, a combat flight simulator. That's right. In 1982, we got a combat flight simulator. We played plenty of space combat games here on the channel. There is only one really big one of combat flight simulation games, and that was Red Baron in the arcade. And then we had one variation of it on a home computer. But other than that, everything's been in space. This is one of the very first, let's get in a plane and dogfight, like in a first-person perspective. We have lots of flight simulators out there, but this one is combining combat and flight simulation. I don't know how they're going to do it. Let's see how they're going to do it. Nice front. The beginning of the game starts off with that. Nice. Good job, Keith. They have it shooting at us. Very cool. We see mostly space games, so this will be one of the very first times you could have a flight combat game. And we got lots of aircraft types here, from German, British, and French planes from World War I. Let's see. We're going to go with... first enemy type's going to go with the triplane, so we'll do that one, and we'll have one of those. Second enemy type, let's have him go with the Albatross, and give me one of those. And then our aircraft, we're going with the Fokker. The D7 Fokker. No, not that one. I don't want the Spad. I pushed the wrong button, and we can't fly the Fokker. This is a training. Is this a training flight? No. Initial number of enemies, 1. And let's do this. I have no idea what this is going to be like. All right, we're in. Whoa, it is actually... I'm trying to figure out okay, yeah, it's using the Apple II joystick to move around. I just got a glimpse of one of the enemies, and you can see our altitude on the left side, which direction we're facing. Whoa. That thing chugs. It reminds me of playing the flight simulator on this ZX81. There's me firing my gun. Yeah, the response is extremely slow. This is like someone going back in time and saying, I need you to make a 3-dimensional video game that is back in 1982. It's like someone went back in time and tried to make a game, and it's just way too ambitious. So I didn't do training mode, and I probably should have started with that to give you an idea of how the training works, because when you go into this mode, you're meant to shoot down the planes and go find them and attack, but wow. It is so slow to respond and move. It's giving us little bits on the screen. It's just it's hard to play this, but it's in a way it's kind of hard to complain because we haven't really seen this. The only other way you could be playing this was in the arcades with Red Baron. The one copy we've seen at home, it was terrible. Kind of like this. Red Baron is the best one. Oh, there he is. Go get him. Oh, this one in 1980. So there is a board game from 1980 after they changed the name from Flight in the Skies to Dawn Patrol. And then the video game by TSR Hobbies. This is their TSR Hobbies had one over the release before this one. This is the it was called Dungeon, and this is the second release by TSR Hobbies after that. Oh man, yep, no, this is so hard to play. I'm already out of... I'm going to see if I can just get a crash animation in. The other reason this one's difficult is the manual and controls for this game I could not find. And if you had a rundown of every of how to play the game, you can see the plane flying by. It would make it more enjoyable, but still look at the frame rate and how slow it is. They're going for something very ambitious. A wireframe first-person perspective flight combat game. So it's both simulation and combat, and it's just... It's cool that it's never been done before, but wow, that's rough. Gosh, yes. So the original board game was a role-playing tabletop game, kind of like a war game. This one is a completely different approach. They want to actually make it... They want to go too far. I think they had the vision to make this happen, but it's just it needs some more time in the oven, or you need more time for the computers to catch up. Yeah, it is a true simulation of flying and shooting the plane. Now, we've played other flight simulators, and most of the flight simulators do take a lot of practice, and this is no different. Dawn Patrol is intense. I'm going to have to say, I really want to say above average because we've never seen this before. But of all the games you can play on a home computer, it still wouldn't be enjoyable because you're familiar with the arcades having action and fast shooting. This one is not going to be that way. It's going to feel very clunky. So I'm going to have to say bad. 2 stars of all the games you can play on a home computer. I'm going to say it's in the bad range. That's true. It was very difficult. Yeah, reaching too far. Yeah, I see arrows going too as well. It's too bad too. I don't want to say bad because of what the ambition. The ambition is through the roof. That's pretty impressive. All right, and with that, let's see what our next game is. Yeah, Victor's going as low as 1. Thanks for the effort. And here on the Apple II is Death Race 82. Death Race 82 is not to be confused with Death Race that we saw in the arcades in April of 1976. And this is also not related to the Apple II game in 1979 called Death Race. This is a completely different one because it's Death Race 82. That's some rocking cars there. And then an example of the screenshot. That's all we have for the front of the box. Let's pop it and play Death Race 82. This is by Don Fudge, published by Avant-Garde Creations. It is August 7th, 1982. I keep this pretty simple. No need to mess around there. Do we want instructions? Yes, we do. How do we play some Death Race? Read the game card this disc came in. Darn, we don't have that. To get basic idea of the game, you're escaping from the dungeon of the evil land baron's cluster castle. But around the castle are miles of concrete road mazes guarded by killer robots which are driving death squad cars with lances sticking out the front. Nice Road Warrior reference. What was it? Mad Max 2 came out in 1981. So we haven't seen any games that are... This is one of the first one. Well, you can think of the original Death Race in the arcades. These cars are armed with laser quark guns, which can penetrate any number of walls, and being hit by these is certain death. But before you start feeling like a cheeseburger and a dog pound, let me say this about that. The robots are dumb. Their gun turrets are non-rotatable. They can only shoot forwards, and you have a couple of great weapons too, like oil slicks and rockets and bazookas. It's vehicle combat? What? It is true Death Race. It might even be more impressive than the arcade. His laser's weakness are great, however, the bazooka turret's also non-rotatable. You have only enough oil for 20 throws before your slicks go slack. Your car must be either directly in front of a death squad car at any distance, and your rockets don't penetrate walls like the laser quarks do, so be very careful. When you begin the game, you begin at speed 1 until you get the hang of it. In fact, you might just want to practice driving around for a while, as it's a skill. Oh, that sounds scary. You have to be mastered for this to be played correctly. Hit button 1 for clockwise steering, and oh, that's weird. So it's paddle controlled only, and then you use the 2 buttons on your paddle to turn? Wait, what's the paddle for then? What are we doing with the paddle if the buttons make us turn? I'm very confused. So quick button pushes will cause a 45-degree turn. The longer it will give you... Wait, what? So we're not using the paddle to twist. We're using the buttons? That's so bizarre. So, use the left-hand button for left turns, your right-hand button for right turns, and if you're just practicing, hit escape, and your turbo car will collide with a wall. Okay, you've used that before. I guess that's the pause key. You'll start playing, the longer you hit escape, you'll crash. And you'll turn the knob quickly as possible with your car. This is a lot of text. Can we just get to the death and the racing, please? Also, during buzzes, you'll ram your car through walls. Up to 4 hits are allowed. It's okay to ram a death car to try to get it to ram through a wall. Wait, you can ram through walls? Like I say, the cars aren't very smart. Use the joystick. Good night, there's so much text. It costs you points ramming through walls. You get points for hitting death squad cars. You have an option about the score. If you're an expert, you want to consider death, you get no score. Well, yeah. Oh my goodness, there's so much instructions. Maybe I didn't want to hear the instructions. Incidentally, if you want to change your speed, you can hit keys 1 through 0 to represent speeds 1 through 10. This will fire a rocket. Don't use number keys for rocket firing unless you want your speed changed. What? This is the most bizarre controls. This game is not one where you sit back and watch the action and shoot something occasionally. You will have full control of your car, and your life is in your hands. We consider this a new dimension in arcade control, so learn this new driving skill well before playing the game for real, and start at speed 1. Have fun. Watch out for those merciless death squad cars. You never know where they'll be hiding. That was so much instruction. I want to go right to the death. Ooh, we got music. That's nice. I think they wrote that after they realized these controls suck. We need to write something. Whoa, best sound we've heard on the Apple II? I think that's the best song. Yeah, I think that is the best song we've heard so far on the Apple II. That was really good. Was that all Dan Fudge? Okay, so they recommended speed 1. Let's do it. Loading the game up. Right? This has to be Proto Twisted Metal. We've had car games where we run over or drive over. But we haven't had weapons and oil slicks to drop down. That's pretty cool. All right, we're in. There I am. Let's see how this works. Oh my gosh. Yes, it is. It's so weird. What? Okay, so I want to turn... Keep going. All right, I'll just wait until I get to the edge. So you push the paddle button to turn the way you want to go. What? So what is the paddle? Yeah, the paddle doesn't do anything. I'm being chased right now. Oh gosh, it doesn't respond very well. The turn, you have to push the paddle button every time you want to make a 45-degree turn. Wow. I've never seen, and they followed me and blew me up. Do you want another game? I'm very scared. Hit any key. Just mash anything. Death Race 82. I gotta admit, I was a little overwhelmed before we started the game, but now I am successfully underwhelmed. How do we shoot, by the way? Oh, I see. Okay. You use the keyboard. The paddle doesn't control the... Oh, okay, so nice. You have to use the paddle buttons to turn, and then you use the keyboard to fire. That's so strange. Here, let's see if we can get him. Get him! Oh, I missed him. Sweet. Okay, so I got the idea, but it's very strange to hold the paddle in one hand and then control in the other. And we got to make our way all the way through this maze. I'm on speed 1. I can't imagine playing this on higher speeds. Gosh, that's so weird. Oh, yeah, I'm tapping the paddle button, but to turn corners, you have to tap, 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 and it doesn't respond. Wow. That's so crazy. Yeah, maybe they spent all the time on the music. Let's make this the best song ever on the Apple II. Who's with me? All right, now did someone do the controls? Has anyone programmed the controls? Oh, damn, we got to get the controls done. Yeah, you definitely need skill to get it around because you can't tap fast to turn the car. This is me like mashing. And in one hand you have your paddle, but then you also have to have a hand on the keyboard to use the keyboard. I'm at least gonna finish this race. Come on. There we go. Got him. Come on, go! Yes! We made it through Death Race. Do they have another map, or is it the same one over and over again? Oh, okay, it's a different one. Where do we start on this? I'm so scared. All right, I'm ready to shoot. I'm ready to hit the car that comes behind me. So technically, there's not a lot of racing going on. It is a car, sort of, and we are using... Kill him, yes. Gosh, the turn is so slow. How would you be able to do this on the faster setting? Gosh. It's very frustrating. Of all the... Oh, shoot him. He got us before. Of all the games we played, nothing is ever controlled like this where you're turning a car using the buttons. Now, we have played a game called Formula 1 that was done by Sid Meier, his first game. And that was a top-down game like this. They didn't have the shooting and combat. Well, we start all the way over in the first map? That is so tough. But we've seen better top-down games. I mean, think of the arcade. We've seen Sprint from this view. So they're adding the element of shooting. or combat, which is a cool idea, but it's not executed well at all. Yeah, the controls are very difficult to explain. I hope I did my best to explain what we're dealing with here, but whoa. It's freaky, man. That's scary. Oh, wow. Death Race 82 makes me want to go watch Road Warrior instead. Well, of all the games we played on a home computer, I actually kind of, in a way, this would be the game that would be your guilty pleasure, because you can't do this. You can't drive around shooting things in video games right now. You can't have a game that allows you to blow up things or drop oil slicks. So in a way, you would want to play this because of that. But as far as the controls go, yikes. We played worse, but because of the concept, I'm actually going to go 2.5 stars. I would want to get better at it. I would want to figure it out, and I'd want to play, because shooting things in the car, like driving around a track, is a cool idea. If you want to play something better, though, play Targ. I mean, come on, Targ is driving and shooting, does it much better than this. Yes, and that's a good point. Because people did this game, they're inspiring other people out there. And the music, man, that song, it's the best on the Apple II, I'm telling you. All right, this is where we're going to put our video game playing on pause this evening. Sadly, tune in next episode. We're going to have some really cool and ingenious graphic adventure games. That's it for today, and like I always say, we have to have the bad video games so we can appreciate the good video games. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are Perpetually Retro, and we will catch you next time.